Welcome to Generator, your view into the ever-evolving and vibrant art scene in Ireland today. In this episode, we present the fifth exhibitor from Generator's second group show, street artist Kathrian Rupit. We're back at the Hendrons building, this time to talk with Roisin and Ceara about the multi-disciplinary artists initiative, Satellite Studios. First up, we meet with second-year photography student Rose Murphy to talk about her current project, the Breastfed Babies of Ireland.
I want to use photography as a tool to change people's ideas and views on breastfeeding. My name is Rose Murphy and I'm a second year photography student at St. Gibbons College. I'm a portrait photographer and at the moment I'm working on a project called the Breastfed Babies of Ireland. In Ireland there's just not really a lot of negativity, but there's not a lot of support, I suppose, from family, from peers, especially from the medical industry, from hospitals, from doctors. There's not enough information about it. And I think for my photo project, what I wanted to do was normalise it in Ireland. Got a bit of inspiration from a photographer called Stacey Turner, and she was based in America, and she just kind of did the whole taboo around breastfeeding and kind of women's daily lives with breastfeeding and in public and stuff. And I think that's where I got my inspiration from. It started off as just kind of doing it in public. I wanted women to breastfeed in public, and then I think after a while, when more women approached me about doing this project and some of them decided to do it at home, I kind of seen the pros and cons of doing it both in public and both at home. It was quite normal for me. I was breastfed, all my brothers were breastfed. I think I was about 10 when my youngest brother was born, so you know, I witnessed him being breastfed. It was quite normal for me, and then I would go out to friends, I would go to school and nobody was breastfed. I'm not a very creative person. I wish I was. I remember back in secondary school, one of my teachers doing, you know, one of those exams where it tells you what kind of personality you have and stuff. And I told her I wanted to study photography, and she said to me, like, you know, you scored very low in the creative side. I think that made me more determined to study photography. So then when I started studying it, and then you meet a lot of creative people and you realise that you're not very creative. But I think with photography, it's not something you have to be creative in. It's like, my goal with this is to make a statement. It's not to be creative. Like, when I take a photo, I think about trying to capture the perfect moment. That's not what happens when you work with children, especially younger kids. They get distracted so easily, and you can't. So you're just trying to get that moment, no matter how blurry it is, no matter how out of frame it is. You're just looking for that exact moment, and I think that's where, for me, it became important to make a statement rather than be a creative person. I know myself, when I log onto Facebook, there's pictures of women half naked, there's almost pornographic images, and you see them, they're floating around and they keep getting shared and they keep getting liked. And then, like, I know, for instance, last week on the breastfeeding group that I'm a part of, there was a woman who complained that she had posted a picture of herself breastfeeding. You couldn't see anything, like you couldn't see nipple, anything, and her photo was reported for pornography. It's horrifying that people would classify breastfeeding and pornography in the same boat as each other.
My name is Roisin McNamee, and I am an artist and co-founder of Satellite Studios.
I'm Ceara Martin. I am also co-founder of Satellite.
We founded the space in 2012, wasn't it 2012? 11. And I've been going strong ever since.
It's called Satellite because this building, they've all just been taken down, but it was like covered in satellites. There was like, I was thinking like 100, but that seems like an exaggeration. The roof used to be the Vodafone tower, so they've just moved out. But yeah, we were looking for a space for ages and this place came up. It's a mad building, there's like so much to it. Yeah. This floor was, yeah, I fell in love with it. The light in these windows is amazing.
Yeah, there is a funny history to the building. You know, it used to be a textile factory, and I think its very first purpose was it was the first business to import transistors to Ireland. I suppose we moved in at the same time as our neighbours downstairs, like Loom Studios, and who are now Hendron's Collider. And there's just a really good buzz to it. Group from NCAD are going to be shown in January, and they'll be split between the two floors, between Hendron's Collider and our satellite project space. So yeah, that'll be mid-January, and then after that we'll probably have gigs. See, the thing with satellite is the programme of events kind of depends on the studio members as well. It's kind of, we give everyone a chance to actually run their own gigs or run their own exhibitions to kind of gain experience in, if they want to, in that area, you know, to build on it, as well as building on their own art practice.
So I'm Terence O'Rourke. I'm mainly a visual artist. I do predominantly video installations, but do a lot of performative live events as well. I suppose in terms of satellite studios, I'm here July, coming up to 6 months. I've actually, since I've moved in here, I kind of changed my practice a bit in that, like 2012, I just pumped out as much work as I could to learn from. It was very productive. I was in like 12 exhibitions, I think. But this year I wanted to, I suppose, focus it on one more long-term goal, which I potentially have set up for next year. So, well, the idea with this one was I wanted to eventually use some sort of like vaudeville monkey organ grinder notion, so that's why I used the music box. But I also want to create an element where the audience has a lot of control and that the work obviously doesn't exist with the audience there. It doesn't initiate or function until the audience presses the button, so as I'll show here. So that's what I'm thinking for the future, that although I'll be present and part of the installation, the audience will as well. I'm not sure, haven't arrived at any solid decisions yet.
We worked with Breastfed. That was our first kind of big project to have done as a group. It was Cork Oracle. So it was their first year working with Waterways Ireland. So we were like, how could you link boats and artists? So we decided artists would make a boat. So we made a whole weekend of it, where we had like a boat building workshop. We built a boat with kids, and we had a boat building workshop, and we had an exhibition, and we had a parade. So yeah, that was great. That was like, was there 4 of us in the end who worked on it all? So we like designed what like our favourite parts about a boat, if we could come up with our dream idea of a boat, and then we combined them all together on one boat that we then marched, beating drums and screaming children. It was great, and launched it on the canal.
I'm Kathrian Rupit. I'm 27 years old. I do street art and I'm from Mexico City. I was a student in Mexico, but actually in the north of Mexico, Monterrey. When I'm starting the street art, actually it wasn't street art, it was more graffiti. And the thing is that where I was living wasn't the most rich part. So everybody in the neighborhoods around, it belongs a crew. So the graffiti was more about who I am, where I'm living, which crew I belong. It was more like kind of territorial in some way, like you're living, I was here, and they know who I am and everything, just for the people who know how to read it. And then later I was studying photography, and then I went to the university, and I just keep mixing these things, from how I grew up, and just choosing the best part of it. It's like, okay, I didn't like too much be involved in this kind of world that is also fights, and it's really kind of American style as well in some way. So I went to the more artistic side, and see it in different points, like, okay, it's no more about territory and about I was here and here and here and I climbed there and I escaped from here, It was more about do something nice. After I finished the university, I was living in Barcelona for almost a year, and then I came here to Ireland, but actually I was just like traveling with my backpack, and I was living in a hostel. I didn't have too much money, but I always was painting, I have 20 years now, so I'm gonna buy spray guns. And I started to sell some of my paintings just to have like enough money to pay the rent and get a normal room and not living in the hostel. I don't know, maybe the weather or the circumstances, it keeps me more stay inside and working, rather than other places that I've been that is more sunny, so you are going outside, it's more social. And here I came and it was like maybe 2 years, 3 years ago, it was snowing. I never saw snow before my life, so I was like, not going out. My work in indoor is related with a lot of Mexican traditions in the way that I took the subject, the Day of the Dead, in full sentence. So I use the skulls as a representation, but also recycling materials that our belief is that after the death is not just the end, it's the beginning of something new, a new life, a new energy, a new something. So I took pieces of material that I found, I collect, I cut, I treat them, and I give them a new life, rather than being in the rubbish or something, When I came here, I didn't see that much in the street, like walking. I always like to watch and to read the message there in the street. And maybe government was putting a lot of effort to clean the city, and like I see trucks cleaning, like specifically graffiti, and it's like you see them cleaning, taking stickers or things, But the last 2 years, it's true that has been a few projects running for, normal people from galleries, students that are finished, and they say to the government, okay, maybe let's clean this area, and better than have like a horrible lane that is like a lot of junkies that, this looks horrible. Maybe we get some people here and paint around, and make this place look better. And it has been a few, like Cabra Park, Thomas Street, and a few other ones. And the people is really nice. Like the people who is living around these areas, they are like, oh, thank you for coming, if you need something, like this is my house, really, really nice people, to be honest. At the moment it's this exhibition, 5th of April, that I'm starting a new collective about female street art. And we probably next year, maybe in the beginning of the year, we're gonna launch a book about female street art in Ireland. And I think I just gonna keep painting.